Last week, I was speaking with a PhantomBuster user who wanted to know about the logs of his Phantom launches. He wanted to be able to monitor the exact time the Phantom was running, when it ended, how much time it needed to run, if it ran successfully or if he got an error. In this case, what was the error, which LinkedIn profile was used for which launch, and many more details like these ones. So I told him that it's possible to do it on the activity tab of a Phantom, but you can also automate it through the PhantomBuster API. And if you are using a tool like Zapier or n8n, if you are able to track if a Phantom launch has an error or is successfully running, you can decide either to stop the flow and to receive a notification on Slack, or to keep the flow running if everything goes well. So in this video, I will show you how to monitor the logs of your Phantoms with the PhantomBuster API. So let's get started. We will first try to use the PhantomBuster API reference to launch our API calls in order to monitor the launches of our Phantom. So I already selected one of my Phantoms, which is a Sales Navigator search export. So I grabbed my API key. I also copied the agent ID of my Phantom that I will paste here in the agent ID. So now I'm ready to launch my API call in order to monitor the logs of my Phantom launches. So as you can see in the response, I have the multiple logs. So I launched this Phantom 3 times. I have the ID, the status, when it has been created, the launch type, the end type, when it ended, and so on. Now I would like to have a bit more details with the runtime events. You can see here on the page, I have a property called withRuntimeEvents. So I will write true to this one and I will launch it again. So now with this property set up, you can see that I have more details. I have the runtime event of each of the logs. For instance, on the first one, you can see that my cookie was invalid. I have the text error, cannot connect to LinkedIn with this session cookie error. Then in the argument, I can see that I was searching a Sales Navigator search URL, and I have my user agents and my session cookie. Then I also have some information about the number of profiles I wanted to extract, the number of lines per launch, and so on. This really depends on the Phantom you are using. If I check the second log, you can see that my cookie was valid and I was successfully connected to LinkedIn. So this one was running well. So this is a very good starting point to monitor the different launches of your Phantom in order to see which one had an error and which one was working, for instance. Now, if you want to focus on one of these ones, you need to copy the ID, such as this one, and then to use containers fetch. There you will paste your container ID and you will also indicate true to withRuntimeEvents. So now you can see that I have all the information for this specific log and I even have more details. And this can be particularly interesting if I'm using this API call within an n8n flow, for instance, where I want to stop the flow when I have an error. We will take an example together now. So I am now on my n8n account and I was creating a flow where I was combining the two API calls. The first one where I'm fetching all the logs from my Phantom. As we saw before, the endpoint is containers/fetch all. And then you just need to add the agent ID of the Phantom you want to monitor the logs. Also, don't forget to send your API key within the headers, as you can see here with the name xPhantomBuster key. So this one is a very simple API call. You can see that I was not requesting the runtime events, so we can try to do it now. It's also very simple and straightforward. I will select send query parameters, and in the name, I will write with runtime events, and as a value, I will set true. Now, if I execute step, I will have the details of the runtime events. So the node was executed successfully, and you can see that I have the runtime events with each of the logs. Okay, and then I was combining this one with another API call where I was fetching the specific log I'm interested about. In this example, I was taking the last one, but you could take whatever ID of the containers that you have here. So as before, I want to send query parameters, the runtime events, so I will set it to true, and I will launch my API call. So now you can see that on the runtime events, on this log, I had an error because I had the wrong session cookie on LinkedIn. This can happen, for example, when your session cookie is expired or when you logged out from LinkedIn. But when it happens, I want to make sure to monitor it and to stop my flow in order not to break it. So I will click on the plus and I will add a condition. I will say that if I have a network cookie invalid, so I will take the slug, value is equal to network cookie invalid, and then I execute the step. So you can see it's working because in this case, I have this exact slug. Then if it's true, I want to stop the flow. And I will launch an error. I would write a message like session cookie invalid. In this case, you can see that I'm getting this error. So before launching this error, we could imagine to send a message on Slack or to send an email to yourself so you can see that you have an error. And then if you continue on the false branch here, it means that you don't have an invalid session cookie. So you could imagine to continue your flow, fetching the output data of your Phantom, and then doing whatever you want with this data. So I hope this video was useful and that it will help you to monitor your logs and also helps you debugging when you have errors with your Phantoms. Thank you for watching. See you in the next tutorial.